One had the most perfect face in Hollywood history, but that perfection drove her to madness. The other grew up sharing a bed with 8 people in the slums of Naples, only to become cinema's most enduring goddess. Tierney and Sophia Loren, 2 women who redefined beauty in completely different ways. Jean's perfect features became her prison, driving away the men who claimed to love her, even a future president. While Sophia's imperfect beauty challenged Hollywood standards and won her an Oscar, they said she could never achieve. Tonight on Behind the Fame, we're uncovering the raw truth behind 2 of cinema's most fascinating faces, not just the glamour you remember, but the shocking reality of what it meant to be either too perfect or not perfect enough. Did you know that Jean Tierney's most devoted fan accidentally destroyed her life? Or that Sophia Loren chose love over Hollywood, turning down Cary Grant's marriage proposal to stay true to her Italian roots? This isn't just another Hollywood story. This is the truth about beauty, madness, and the price of becoming a legend. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications, because every day on Behind the Fame, we're revealing the stories that changed entertainment forever. This is Behind the Fame, where legends meet reality. Jean Tierney, the most beautiful face in Hollywood history. The face that launched 1,000 dreams. When Jean Tierney walked into a room, time seemed to stop. Her beauty was mathematically perfect. High cheekbones that created shadows in any light, emerald eyes with an exotic tilt, and a slight overbite that somehow made her even more mesmerizing. Darryl F. Zanuck famously declared her unquestionably the most beautiful woman in movie history. Unlike the manufactured glamour of many Hollywood stars, Tierney's beauty was entirely natural. No plastic surgery, no camera tricks needed. The legendary cinematographer Joseph Lachelle said, "You couldn't photograph her badly if you tried. Every angle was perfect." Her distinctive features, particularly those high cheekbones and slightly upturned nose, established a new standard of beauty that influenced fashion and film for decades. The Laura years. Her most iconic role in Laura, 1944, perfectly captured her ethereal beauty. Playing a woman who was more phantom than flesh, her face haunted not just the characters in the film, but audiences worldwide. The famous portrait of her in the film became one of Hollywood's most recognized images. Director Otto Preminger said, "The camera didn't just love her, it was obsessed with her." In The Ghost and Mrs. Muir, 1947, her beauty took on a different quality, romantic, mysterious, almost otherworldly. Her performance as Mrs. Muir, a woman in love with a ghost, showed that her beauty could convey deep longing and spiritual connection beyond mere physical attraction. The Kennedy Romance. The love story between Jean Tierney and young John F. Kennedy reads like a tragic romance novel. They met in 1945 when he was a handsome naval officer recovering from war injuries. Their chemistry was immediate and electric. "Jack had a way of making you feel like you were the only woman in the world," she later wrote. Their romance blossomed against the backdrop of post-war America. They would meet secretly in California and Washington, sharing dreams of a future together. Kennedy was captivated, not just by her beauty, but by her intelligence and wit. They shared a love of poetry. He would often quote Byron to her, particularly lines about impossible love. The relationship reached its peak in 1946. Kennedy was seriously considering marriage, but his father, Joe Kennedy, intervened. The elder Kennedy made it clear that a Hollywood actress, no matter how beautiful or accomplished, would destroy his son's political future. The choice was stark: Jean or the presidency. Years later, after becoming president, Kennedy confided to a friend, "If I had known what life would bring, I would have married Jean." When they occasionally met at social functions in later years, witnesses noted the lingering electricity between them. During one such meeting in the early 1960s, they danced together at a diplomatic function. Observers said their connection was still palpable, the might have been hanging in the air between them. The Screen Goddess. Beyond Laura, Tierney's beauty enhanced every role she played. In Leave Her to Heaven, 1945, her beauty took on a sinister quality. She played Ellen Barrett, a woman whose outward perfection masked inner darkness. The film showcased how her perfect features could convey not just beauty but obsession and madness. The Razor's Edge, 1946, saw her playing against type as the sophisticated but troubled Isabel Bradley. Her beauty in this film had a brittle quality that perfectly captured the character's desperate grip on social position and lost love. In private life, Tierney's beauty could be a burden. She once said, "People were so busy looking at my face, they never bothered to see me." She was an accomplished painter and writer, but few showed interest in these talents. Howard Hughes, another famous suitor, was perhaps the only man who encouraged her intellectual pursuits. Her social life was a parade of influential admirers. Besides Kennedy and Hughes, she caught the eye of Prince Ali Khan before his marriage to Rita Hayworth, costume designer Oleg Cassini, whom she eventually married, and numerous powerful men in politics and entertainment. The pressure to maintain her perfect image was intense. Studios monitored her weight obsessively. Every photograph had to be perfect. She was, after all, the most beautiful face in Hollywood. This pressure contributed to her later struggles with mental health. Legacy of beauty. What makes Tierney's story particularly poignant is how her extraordinary beauty both made and unmade her. It opened doors to stardom and brought her close to becoming First Lady of the United States. Yet, it also created impossible expectations and prevented many from seeing her genuine talents. Her beauty captured the imagination of poets, artists, and dreamers. The writer Agatha Christie based her description of several heroines on Tierney's face. Fashion designers of the 1940s referenced her features in their ideal of beauty. Even today, plastic surgeons sometimes use her photos as examples of perfect facial proportion. In later years, when asked about her famous beauty, Tierney responded with characteristic honesty. "Beauty is what got you in the door in Hollywood, but it could also be what kept you prisoner there." Perhaps this is why her story continues to fascinate. It reminds us that even perfect beauty comes with its own price. Think these Hollywood stories are shocking? We're just getting started. Hit that subscribe button and join our Behind the Fame family, where we expose the real stories Hollywood doesn't want you to know. Your daily dose of truth begins with one click. Behind the Fame, Sophia Loren, the girl who hunger made beautiful born, Sophia Villani. Skick alone in a charity ward of Rome's Hospital for the Poor, Sophia Loren's early life was marked by grinding poverty and wartime deprivation. In the slums of Pozzuoli near Naples, she was nicknamed Stuzzicadenti, the toothpick, for her skinny frame. "The hunger years shaped me," she later said. "The face and body I have today came from living through those times." During World War II, she often had to run to bomb shelters, once being struck by shrapnel that left a scar on her chin. The family was so poor that her mother would sometimes take water from the radiator of their neighbor's car to make coffee. This poverty shaped not just her determination, but her legendary figure. The curves that would later make her famous came from finally having enough to eat. The beauty that defied Hollywood. Unlike the petite blondes who dominated 1950s Hollywood, Loren was tall, curvy, and unashamedly Mediterranean. Her nose was too long by Hollywood standards, her lips too full, her figure too voluptuous. But these imperfections combined to create something extraordinary. As she famously said, "Everything you see, I owe to spaghetti." Renowned photographer Felipe Halsman described her face as a miracle of asymmetries. Her eyes were slightly different sizes. Her nose was aquiline rather than button small, but together they created what many consider one of the most beautiful faces in cinema history. The Great Romance, Carlo Ponti versus Cary Grant. The filming of The Pride and the Passion, 1957, created one of Hollywood's most intriguing love triangles. Cary Grant, then 53, fell deeply in love with 22-year-old Loren. He proposed marriage repeatedly during filming, offering her a life of Hollywood glamour and stardom. At the same time, she was involved with producer Carlo Ponti, who was 22 years her senior and still married, divorce being illegal in Italy at the time. The choice between Grant and Ponti became a choice between two lives: Hollywood superstardom with one of its greatest leading men, or staying true to her Italian roots with Ponti. Her decision to choose Ponti over Grant surprised many. Their relationship caused scandal in Catholic Italy. They had to have their first marriage annulled and later marry by proxy in Mexico. But it proved to be one of Hollywood's most enduring love stories, lasting until Ponti's death in 2007. The Oscar and international stardom. Her performance in Two Women, 1960, broke new ground. Playing a mother protecting her daughter from war's brutality, she became the first actor to win an Oscar for a non-English speaking role. The role was particularly poignant as it reflected her own mother's struggles during the war. Despite her success, Loren never fully embraced Hollywood. She continued to make films in Italy, refusing to abandon her roots. When studios asked her to fix her nose or reduce her curves, she famously replied, "Everything you see, I owe to spaghetti, and I'm not about to give up either." Her collaborations with Marcello Mastroianni created some of cinema's most memorable partnerships. Films like Yesterday, Today, and Tomorrow and Marriage Italian Style showcased her comic timing as well as her dramatic abilities. The power of family. Unlike many stars of her era, Loren prioritized family over fame. Her struggle to have children was public. She suffered multiple miscarriages before finally having two sons. She scaled back her career to raise them, saying, "Nothing makes a woman more beautiful than the belief that she is beautiful, except becoming a mother." Loren's career longevity is remarkable. At 86, she returned to screens in The Life Ahead, 2020, directed by her son, Eduardo. She attributes her endurance to maintaining her Italian identity. "I never tried to be someone I wasn't. I am proud to be Italian, proud of where I came from." Her beauty regimen became legendary. She famously credited her looks to olive oil baths and Italian attitude. But the real secret may have been her authenticity. As she said, "Beauty is how you feel inside, and it reflects in your eyes. It is not something physical." Legacy of the Last Goddess. Sophia Loren remains perhaps the last living legend of Hollywood's golden age. Her rise from poverty to international stardom, her choice of love over Hollywood convenience, and her dedication to authenticity make her story uniquely inspiring. As she once said, "Nothing makes a woman more beautiful than the belief that she is beautiful." From the hungry girl in Pozzuoli to international icon, Sophia Loren's greatest achievement may be remaining true to herself through it all. The stories of Tierney and Sophia Loren remind us that beauty, whether perfect or imperfect, comes with its own price. One woman's flawless features became her golden cage, while another's flaws became her greatest strength. Tierney's tragic fate shows us how Hollywood's obsession with perfection can destroy the very thing it claims to worship, while Sophia Loren's triumph proves that true beauty comes not from conforming to other standards, but from embracing who you really are. One lost everything trying to maintain an impossible ideal. The other gained everything by refusing to change. Two different paths in Hollywood's golden age, two very different endings. Tomorrow on Behind the Fame, we'll uncover the story of Kim Novak, the woman who dared to walk away from Hollywood at the height of her fame. What made Hitchcock's perfect obsession turn her back on stardom? Here at Behind the Fame, we believe these stories must be told, not just as history lessons, but as urgent reminders of the vigilance required to prevent history from repeating itself. The next time you watch a classic film from this era, remember, behind every sparkling smile and perfect performance lies a story of survival in a system designed to break spirits while creating stars. If you want to discover more hidden stories about Hollywood's most fascinating women, hit subscribe and the notification bell. Join our growing community of classic cinema lovers who are uncovering the truth behind the glamour every single day. Leave a comment below. Which story resonated with you more? The price of perfection or the power of being different? This has been Behind the Fame, where legends meet reality.